Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is absolute garbage, and the people who made it at Steelwool should be ashamed of themselves for having created it. So I'm going to go through the entire game in parts. I'm not doing this all in one video, but I'm going to go through the entire game in parts, and I'm going to analyze and call attention to every single flaw I can find, every single detail, because I have played this game before, by the way. This isn't me playing it so that I can hate, just so that I can hate on it. No, I've played it before and I hated it. So, yeah. And I don't care how minor some of the details I'll end up picking apart are. I don't care. This game deserves all the hate it can get. But I mean, I don't hate everything in this game. Like there are some details I like. I like that Chica leans over when Freddy falls down to check on him. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. And hey, if there are any things I missed in each of the videos, you can call attention to them in the comments section, and unless you specifically tell me not to give you credit for it, I'll credit you. Also, I'm not going to talk about bugs and glitches in this video, or any of them. Yes, the fact that the game released in such a broken state is inexcusable. But also, I'm only going to talk about things that they made intentionally. I'm going to talk about how bad the game would be even if it wasn't glitchy. To start, the intro is completely pointless. The tone of it has absolutely nothing to do with anything that's in the actual game. And not only that, but you find out that Freddy crashed during a stage performance within the first 15 minutes of the game anyway. So if the point of this cutscene was to show that he crashed during the stage performance, that's already done. And as for introducing each of the characters, we have the vent part.
Everyone was watching you. Everyone loves you. Everyone wants to be you.
So as it stands, the intro is just a waste of budget. And turning off the music in the settings menu also, for some reason, turns off the music in the cutscenes. So the intro is just awkward with a couple of sound effects, if you do that. And literally the first line we get in-game doesn't make any sense. Freddy says,
"Showtime already?"
Which he was already at showtime. He crashed during showtime, and there isn't a showtime happening at the moment. Yes, Freddy isn't at the stage, but neither is anybody else. They're all in their green rooms. So you can't just say that Freddy not being there could mean that there's still a show.
The recharge cycle is not complete.
No, it isn't. You're on reduced power. I guess you could say that maybe Freddy is unable to tell that he's on reduced power, even though he can see all of his other statistics. But Vanessa literally tells him,
"Now, parts and services have you on reduced power."
And Freddy still says that the recharge cycle is not complete, even after that.
The recharge cycle had not yet completed when I found you.
Okay, listen. You were sleeping, so I opened the stomach hatch and climbed inside.
My stomach hatch? That place is reserved for oversized birthday cakes and piñatas. It is not a safe play area.
Literally, when did Gregory get into the stomach hatch? How did he get in there? If he got in there before the show, then that would mean he somehow had access to the backstage and the parts and service rooms. And if he got in there after the show, then that would mean he has access to Freddy's green room. But either one would require him to have security passes that he doesn't have yet. So it can't possibly be either one. It doesn't make any sense. Once you exit Freddy, you can walk up to the mirror and it's way dirtier and unclear than it was a second ago.
That is the security guard. She can help.
No, I don't trust her.
Why not?
I don't know who she is, but she's trying to get me.
This is a completely baseless accusation. We have no reason to believe that Vanessa is going after Gregory, and Gregory has no reason to believe it either. In a harmful way, I mean. The game does make it clear that she is trying to catch him, but she is the security guard. But Gregory actually thinks that she's trying to kill him, which ends up being true. Which, in itself, isn't a bad thing, but the fact that Gregory ended up being right with his randomly generated thoughts is stupid.
Isn't there some other way for you to communicate with me besides talking so loudly?
Take this. It is a novelty Freddy Fazwatch.
If a child is able to fit inside Freddy, which is already stretching it, how the hell was Gregory able to fit in there with that box in there too?
Defies all logic, that thing.
Freddy never put the box in there, which means it was in there with Gregory the whole time. And somehow, both of them were able to fit. Because the box is in no way damaged. And not only that, but it works in the fact that Gregory is able to turn the crank to play the music box, which opens the box. But like, why would a box be engineered like that? Why wouldn't it just be a box you can open? That's a waste of resources to put music boxes and springs into boxes that just have presents that you open. So you get the Fazwatch, and it doesn't have a map, but it does have a map on the cameras menu. And why is the cameras menu even here? You don't have a way of accessing the camera yet. Guests aren't even meant to have access to the security cameras, so it doesn't make any sense for this to be here. And Freddy shouldn't be able to send this message to you, because he's cut off from the network.
Oh, connection error. I cannot connect to the main network.
He also says this.
There is a button on the wall that will open the door to the back room. I will make it accessible to you now.
Once again, how was he able to make it so that this button was accessible if he's not connected to the network? And by the way, that's just everything that's wrong with the first room in the entire game.
Well done, Gregory. There is an open-air vent inside the maintenance room. You will have to climb through the ventilation system and release me from the outside.
Why would there be a vent that's unblocked in two places that has a stack of boxes leading up so that somebody can climb in it? That's a massive security problem. And what is the point of the Save Your Spot station? What in-universe purpose does that serve? I understand having save stations in a video game, but this just would have no reason to exist. This is a back room in this instance. You wouldn't even be able to put a line in here. And even then, this still wouldn't do anything to save a spot in a line anyway. Also, the crouching tutorial appears after you've already tried to enter the vent and probably fallen off. I know it happened here to me, but it also happened in my first playthrough of the game, so it's a consistent thing. Why do both the tutorial and the save station require you to hold square for a couple of seconds? It just wastes your time for something that you should be able to do immediately. When you're crawling through the vents, none of the characters can hear you. Not even Roxy, a character whose mechanics are specifically based around hearing. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be a problem if it weren't for the fact that there's a note saying that there are loud clanging sounds coming from the vents, and there are also mini music men in the vents, which are smaller than you. So, a child who is much larger than these music men should be making much louder noises and should definitely be heard by the animatronics, especially Roxy. I mean, Monty's destroying his room and Chica's playing a guitar, so I guess for them it's excusable, but once again, Roxy doesn't have anything in her room to distract her from Gregory's noise. The wet floor signs have no reason to be animatronics themselves. That's just a waste of electricity and resources. And yes, I am aware of the fact that shooting them will send out a distress signal, but that's only if you shoot them. Meaning that if anybody did want to break into the Pizzaplex, all they would have to do is not shoot the wet floor signs, and the wet floor signs would do nothing. Why are these cardboard cutouts here? With the exception of Bonnie, it doesn't make sense for any of them to be made. Not in real life, that is. They were in Help Wanted in a Halloween themed level, but in that game, it was about how the company wanted people to move on past the actual horror stories by pretending that they were fake. So why would you put these in your actual establishment? Once again, with the exception of Bonnie, because the rest of the characters on the cutouts are characters that would be hidden from the public eye, and they wouldn't want people to remember after help wanted. So having these cutouts in the establishment runs counter to that by not only reminding people, but running the risk of scaring your child audience. If the area is under 24-hour surveillance with cameras, then Vanessa should have caught Gregory already, seeing as she works on the security staff. And if you're saying that for some reason she might not have access to the security anyway, let's listen to this line from Freddy.
There. You can now activate security protocols. Your fast watch is now connected to the security camera system.
Whose idea was it to put the sign there? They didn't even have to put the sign there. The developers? They could have just not had the sign there and it wouldn't have become a massive plot hole. It doesn't make any sense. The Rockstar Row display cases are missing some objects. I know people have tried to theorize that the blob took them, but that obviously cannot be the case. One, because the cases would need to be smashed. Two, because the blob is massive and nobody would be able to not find it if it was moving around. It would very easily get caught. And three, the reason why the Pizzaplex is destroyed and ruined is because of the blob moving out of the sinkhole. So, if the blob did steal the objects, which it would need to leave the sinkhole in order to do that, then the place would already be destroyed. So that means the display cases have some missing parts for no reason.
The stupid door won't open.
You are going to need a photo pass to open the door.
Why does Freddy's door require a photo pass when everybody else's doors require a level 5 security pass and therefore would be inaccessible to guests, even though this whole place has lines for people to line up to take pictures with the animatronics? Why does opening each of these bags take so long, and why do they give you digital notes? How does that work? And what happened to the bag? Why are there so many bags lying around anyway? Is it National Leave Your Bag in a Random Place Day? You can't say that people lost the bags because some of the messages are very clearly addressed to employees. I'm sorry, but this garage door just looks like a wall. You're not going to be able to tell that it can move until you've already played the game and experienced that accidentally. The lobby is left with other guests' drinks and pizzas left there. This place should be shut down for failed sanitation. How are guests even meant to get to Rockstar Row in its lobby? The entire area surrounding it is just back rooms. There's a cardboard cutout of Freddy that says 1 free photo pass where you can get 1 free photo pass. But what's the point of that? Why is there just a single photo pass that's free? Ever. It's not even like a daily or weekly thing to whoever manages to get there first. It's just 1 photo pass. So why even bother printing the cutout? And why would they even give away a free photo pass anyway? Fazbear Entertainment has been characterized repeatedly as extremely greedy and money grubbing, so why would they ever do this?
I know how to get you out of here. Climb back into my chest cavity.
Hey, what's that thing Freddy said when he first found you in his chest cavity?
It is not a safe play area.
It's nice to see that meant nothing.
I will escort you to the main exit through the utility tunnels. It is the safest path.
Okay, but you better be careful moving around. I don't want to be crushed and twisted into a meat pretzel.
That has to be the single most forced in line I have ever heard in anything. It doesn't feel natural at all. So we're done talking about everything wrong with Rockstar Row. The outros in these videos, the way I'm going to end them, they're going to be very lackluster. I apologize. I just want to focus as much on the critique as possible, so forgive me for that.